Friends, I'm going to go ahead and have us begin our meeting. And if people have been asking about this wonderful liturgical art here on these panels, and understand that Beth Mueller has been assisted by Rob and to create these, and it's called embossed metal. And if you want to know more about it at a break, you can see Beth, and she'll tell you all about it. And I hope you had a chance to go to the display room with all of the wonderful display people. If you haven't, you can head over there at a break. There's some wonderful Shipley's donuts, I'm told. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the Reverend Stacy Eichard, who is our moderator-elect, and she'll be leading our prayer service this morning. Stacy?
And we're going to start with a song.
Okay, great.
Let us pray. God, we come this morning confessing we are hungry and thirsty, confessing that there is no place to turn but to you. And as we gather, we ask that you be our people, that we be your people, that you draw close to us, that you fill this place with your power, with your spirit. Help us to feel that as we are together, we aren't only better, but we are indeed your people. Come and be with us this morning, we pray. Amen.
Never ceasing, call for
So I'd like to invite Judy Ferguson to give our General Council report.
Good morning. First of all, I want to say what a privilege it is to be chairing the council this year. It's just such a wonderful group of people who are working so hard to make this Presbytery be what it is, and isn't it exciting to be in this place in this time? And I'm just excited about what we're doing. We had a great retreat earlier in January and got to ride on the hay wagon at John Knox Ranch, but also started reading a book that I would highly commend to you and your churches called Canoeing the Mountain. There's a little bit about it in the written report, so I won't go over it, but it's really, we're finding it to be very stimulating and challenging. So we have one action item from the council this morning. First of all, I want to say thank you, though, to Rob Mueller, who was there but went back there, and Laura Dabney from First Uvalde. They have been part of a listening team at First Presbyterian Church in Del Rio. And so they spent many hours with that group of people and have come to the conclusion that we bring this motion to you this day. So on behalf of the council, I move that the Presbytery approve an administrative commission to work with First Presbyterian Church of Del Rio with the following tasks: to compile an accurate roll of members, to work with the congregation on visioning and mission for the future, to assume original jurisdiction, and any other tasks that may be necessary for the future of First Presbyterian Church of Del Rio. The members of that administrative commission who have agreed to serve, and again, Rob and Laura are in our debt. They have agreed to continue working with the church, and then they will be accompanied by the Reverend Sonia Douglas. So on behalf of the council, Mr. Moderator, I move this motion.
You've heard the motion made by General Council regarding creating an administrative commission for the First Presbyterian Church of Del Rio. It comes from the council. Does it not require a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Now, the chair would like to invite the Mission Presbytery Commissioners to the 223rd General Assembly to give us their report.
Hello, I'm Dan Milford from Covenant Presbyterian San Antonio, and was one of our commissioners for this General Assembly. As we are gathering together this morning, I have with me, this is Alexis Milford Rosales. She's in Spain right now, so she is WhatsApping in with us from Spain. I served on the Committee for Middle East Peace Issues. It was a good committee. I don't think anyone got exactly what they wanted coming out of this, either of our Middle East issues advocacy groups, but there was a lot of good discussion, and hopefully moving forward the work that we do in the Middle East and trying to understand more deeply how we can be a helpful part of that process. I'll let our other folks go, and then Alexis, you'll hear what we're doing, and you can tell us what committee you were on and such.
I served on the Social Justice Committee, and there was lots of lively debate.
And that was Rick Covington from Hope Austin.
I'm Dahlia Vela, and I served on Committee 5 Mid-Councils.
I served on the Way Forward Committee.
And that's Carolina Trevino from Austin Seminary, right? And so as we served on our different committees, and I can't look at my, well, maybe I can. Hold on. This is a little above me. So there was a welcoming committee that received us into St. Louis. The COLA, the Committee on Local Arrangements, always does an outstanding job at inviting the community of Presbyterians into the city and helping us feel welcome there. This committee in St. Louis was no exception. We had a great time there. They were there to take care of our many needs. And then Alexis put together a video for us. And so we're hoping this is going to work, but let's take a moment to view the video if this will work for us.
To commemorate, but I didn't.
Stay healthy. For a second, President.
Hi, Meredith.
She is the most.
She does.
Syria.
And hope. Many of you participate to the main. Share it with you all today.
Elements that make
Easily accessed.
I don't even have water. We still have
The General Assembly.
200 and
That does a good job of representing how fast things move at General Assembly a lot of the time. I'm now going to invite Alexis to, if I didn't lose the connection here. No, she's there. All right, Alexis, why don't you share with us about what committee you served on and your experience with the Yads. And we saw one of the Puerto Rican Yads singing his song. You might want to tell us about that as well.
Okay, can you hear me? Does this work? Okay, so, Dad, can you quickly flip the camera around? I'm not really looking at anything. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Hello. So, I was on the Committee of Interfaith and Ecumenical Relationships, and it was very interesting because we had lots of people that are of different faiths and ecumenical guests that would come speak to us and tell us how the involvement of our denomination in conversations with others has really helped their ministry as well. So that was really cool. As the Yads, we had the opportunity to meet all the co-moderators, co-moderator candidates before everyone else did. So we got to have our own little question and answer with them. And it was really cool because we learned that both Bill Murray and Cindy had been Yads originally, and that the program for Yads is really important in helping young people get involved in the church. We also, so throughout the time, there were some Yads that really wanted to be able to have a vote instead of just an advisory vote, and they made a huge fuss about that. Not all of us agreed, but we were both sides of the argument where we were all able to speak because that's kind of how our polity goes. Everyone can speak their minds, and that was really cool. But at the end of the whole assembly, the Yads always give a gift to the state clerk and the moderators. And there had been a lot of talk this General Assembly about cost. There were lots of things that we thought were very good, but every time something was about to be passed, someone would inevitably ask, is this cost worth it? And so I thought it was really cool that the Yads this time, instead of just talking about how we wanted to be involved, we took the step to show people if we care about these issues, we are going to give more money for the church to be able to do good in the world. So instead of giving the co-moderators and J. Herb gifts, we gave them monetary gifts as donations to causes that are very important to them. So for Ville Marie, we donated to PDA in Puerto Rico, and for J. Herb, we donated to the Poor People's Campaign. And it was really cool for us to be able to say, no, we want to be involved, and we're going to be involved by showing you we care about the church and the work of the church in the community. So we're going to give money to make sure that we can implement all of these things that we just passed. And then,
thank you, Alexis.
okay.
Oh, you were going to tell us about.
Yeah, so the video of the Yads singing with the guitars, we had some friends from Puerto Rico, the Yads from Puerto Rico, came up with how one of them only brought one nice shirt for GA, and so he sang a song about how he can't wear that same shirt because everyone in his committee already saw him wearing that shirt. So it was really fun.
Very good, thank you. All right, I'm going to invite Rick Covington to come forward at this point.
Thank you, Mission Presbytery. Thank you for your vision, for your caring support, for helping those dealing with mental health issues in our congregations and in our communities. It is because of you that Comfort My People Working Group has been able to move forward with our efforts in this important area of work within PCUSA in dealing with serious mental health issues. Let me give you some background for those of you who may not be familiar with the Comfort My People effort. The Comfort My People Overture proposal was brought before Mission Presbytery in June of 2017. You gave us a very strong, overwhelming support approving that proposed overture. The overture asked PCUSA to do 4 things. First, to conduct a survey of seminaries, presbyteries, and congregations. Second, review, update, and present a second edition of the Comfort My People document. Third, to launch a church-wide network to enable and encourage sharing of information regarding mental health programs and other resources across our denomination. And fourth, establish a $250,000 grant to be used to implement the provisions of the overture. That overture gained concurrences with 18 presbyteries and 2 synods from across the country. In June of 2018, we took it to the 223rd General Assembly. The overture received a very strong support at General Assembly, being approved by a vote of 422 to 93. Not only was the overture itself approved, but Presbyterian Mission Agency staff were able to assist us in obtaining additional funding as well as staff support for the project. In total, the equivalent funding for the project over the 2-year period is $486,000. So where are we now? Last month there was a summit in Louisville, Kentucky, which brought together people from across the country and PCUSA staff to brainstorm how the Comfort My People project would move forward. We are in the process of compiling the notes from those discussions, as well as reaching out to others interested in mental health issues within our denomination. A new full-time director for the project has just been hired. This person will help direct the various activities and groups that are working on the project, including the soliciting of grant proposals, the evaluation of those proposals, and the awarding of grant funds to those deemed best able to promote the recommendations from the overture. The Holy Spirit, the survey to seminaries, presbyteries, and congregations will be coming out this summer. And the framework of the church-wide network is being discussed, and the process of getting input is proceeding. The Holy Spirit has been with us every step of the way as we move forward with our efforts to live up to God's command to comfort my people. It all started right here with Mission Presbytery's staff support and your approval. If you'd like more information about the Comfort My People project, please contact the Mission Presbytery office, and they can provide contact information for the Comfort My People team. Thank you, and God bless.
At the very back of your packet, if you copied yours off and compiled it exactly the same way I did, or my office manager, better spoken, there is a summary from, and Alexis, I have no idea where I have you facing right now. Anyway, you see the people? Yeah. A summary from the Presbyterian Outlook. We had this included in the packet in October as well, and it speaks to a number of the different issues that this assembly addressed. One general overview that I'll give is I was at assemblies once as a commissioner and once as an alternate and once just as an observer from 2008 to 2012. And this was a very different feel of an assembly from those assemblies. I lament the number of churches that we've lost over the last few years. On the other hand, when we met at the assembly, there wasn't nearly the contention that there had been in previous years. I trust that as Presbyterians, we'll bring that contention back once we figure out what we're going to fight about now. But maybe I shouldn't have said that. We have to figure out where the new dividing lines are going to be, and we haven't done that yet. So it was a largely an assembly of, wow, we all agree about this. Wow, we all agree about that too. And a very good feeling assembly in that sense. So you'll notice on the Outlook's summary a number of the different things that we addressed, and by and large, these things received overwhelming approval. When we get to the point of voting on the amendments, you'll note that the amendments were approved by and large by like 450 to 10. Those kinds of degrees of approval or of unanimity. There are, I believe it's 4 amendments that are related to the Book of Discipline. And just a quick thing on that, there is a group meeting right now. We've gone through over the last decade rewriting the form of government section, dividing the G section into the F and the G sections, and completely redoing that. More recently, we've rewritten the Book of Worship section, and so now we have a group that's meeting to rewrite the Book of Discipline section. We still had some amendments because there were presbyteries that had sent amendments down the pipeline and said, there are things that we need to address immediately. One of the areas where we have an amendment that makes a change, and I'm neither satisfied with the way things were nor the way things will be with the change, is related to when ministers renounce jurisdiction while there are charges pending against them. Some of the conversation at the assembly that I hope will instruct the team that's meeting to work on that and will be part of what comes back to us is that we cease to stop investigations when the minister renounces jurisdiction. So right now, if the minister renounces jurisdiction, that ends the investigation. But that leaves the victims' needs uncared for. It leaves the church not knowing what happened and how they can go about healing and moving forward. And it leaves it in the minister's hands if they decide they want to try to rejoin the church 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15, 20 years down the road, waiting for a time that they feel more ready to do it, or waiting for a victim to die, or whatever. It just isn't fair to the victim and to the church right now. So I'm hopeful that's something that is yet to come back from the book of discipline task force committee, whatever they're called, that are working on that. And so that's what we wanted to share on that portion. I believe next we have Dahlia coming forward.
One of the highlights of General Assembly was the election of the new co-moderators. I understand you've had the privilege and opportunity to meet one of them at the last Presbytery meeting in October. And they are Ville-Marie Cintron Olivieri and Cindy Coleman. Ville-Marie is an ordained ruling elder and educator. She currently serves as faculty member of Credo through the Board of Pensions. Coleman is Resource Presbyter for the Presbytery of Boston and Presbytery of Northern New England. Through their partnership, the co-moderators plan to serve together to embody a spirit of love, justice, reconciliation, and hope, proclaiming what God is already doing in and through our congregations, and as witnesses of God's grace in our lives and ministries.
Thank you, Dahlia. Carolina, right before you, I think Alexis had one more thing that she wanted to share. You're on, Alexis.
Okay, so as is tradition, I would like to say happy birthday to Lita.
To you, happy birthday. That was Sally. Happy birthday, dear Lita. Happy birthday to you. She blew you kisses. Okay, and now Carolina.
I know. We know it's not your birthday. Happy birthday. I had the honor of serving on the Way Forward Commission. It was tasked with looking at and suggesting changes to the structure and functionality of the national church agencies. Woo-woo! Buy me a cup of coffee sometime, and I'll explain the intricate details of A Corp to you. The long and the short of it is, though, that we think that we tweaked the structure enough for it to work more fairly, but not so much that it will break. Way Forward also recommended, and this was my favorite part, Way Forward also recommended that translation services for the whole denomination be fully funded, not just from English into other languages, but from other languages into English, so that English-only speakers can learn from Presbyterian siblings who are doing theology in other languages. Amen. We also recommended that all denominational documents and websites be prepared in formats that are easily accessible for Presbyterians who are blind and visually impaired, and that all national and mid-council meetings provide ASL translators or closed captioning for Presbyterians who are deaf. Hooray. I had never been a GA commissioner before. It was an incredible learning experience. And the thing that I take away from it is the amazing, amazing people in the PCUSA. And many of them are in this room. I'd like to invite Jack Barden and Kyle, Josh, y'all stand up, Trisha, Sally, Carrie Weinbrenner, stand up. Who else was here from Mission Presbytery? Who else was in St. Louis from Mission Presbytery? Catherine? Yay, hooray. Lem was there. This is your church, y'all. Give them a hand, please. Because speaking for Dan and Dahlia and Rick, also for Nancy McCraney from Hospice Austin and Liz Enzaldúa from Divino Salvador, we were kind of like a rock band, is what it felt like, going a traveling rock band. And we had these amazing roadies in Trisha and Sally and Carrie Weinbrenner, and they took care of everything that we needed. So it was a real, it it was partly super boring and partly really, really exciting. So if you get the chance to go, sorry, for real. If you get the chance to go, really take it. It is an honor to see our church alive, because that is what it is today. So, amen. Thanks. That concludes our report.
Thank you. Either way. Now I want to invite our esteemed clerk to present the proposed amendments to the Book of Order.
Good afternoon. Gotcha. That's for everybody who made fun of me after my mistake yesterday. I also wanted to see if you were awake. I've always wanted to be a roadie, so I'm kind of glad I got called on. Thank you. Boy. As the commissioners just shared, we do have several amendments that are coming to you from this General Assembly. They are found in the packet. They would be called Report C. They're pretty easy to find right after the General Council report. There's a nice little cover for the booklet for you. We will be taking these in the order that they're found in the booklet. So the first one you will find on page 1 of that booklet, and it's 18A. Election of ruling elders and deacons. It's on amending G-2.0401. I have to read numbers early in the morning. Josh, this does not bode well. And it is, the motion is shall G-20401 of the form of government be amended as follows. On the amendment there, you'll see that the text to be deleted is shown with a strike through. The text to be added or inserted is shown in italics. Mr. Moderator, I place this before the Presbytery.
You've heard the motion. It comes before us by the General Assembly. Does not require a second. Is there any debate or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Motion passes.
The next one is found starting on page 3 of the booklet. A little bit of explanation on these. There are actually 2 different proposed amendments that are here, or recommendations that are coming. The General Assembly approved the combination of these 2 into one item. So we are not voting on B1 and then B2 separately. They are voted on together. So this is Amendment 18B, and this has to deal with the renunciation of jurisdiction. 18B1 is on amending G-2.0509. As shall G-0.0509 be amended by striking the 4th paragraph and adding 2 new paragraphs to read as follows. And again, the text to be deleted is shown with the strike through. The text to be added is shown as in italics. The second part of that, 18B2, is found on page 5 in there, on amending D-10.0401D, and asked shall D-10.0401D be amended to read as follows. And again, the same, the text to be deleted is shown with a strike through, and text to be added or inserted is shown as italics. So, Mr. Moderator, I lay this motion before the Presbytery.
Thank you. As with all of these amendments to the Book of Order approved by the General Assembly, we're not allowed to amend them. We just have to vote them up or down. You've heard the motion that we're going to take 18B1 and B2 as a joint amendment. It comes from the General Assembly, does not require a second, but is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let us vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. The motion passes.
You can stay there. Rob brought me a mic.
Oh, okay.
The next item is 18C, which is found on page 8 in the booklet, on amending G-3.0104. Shall G-3.0104 of the form of government be amended by adding the following statement as the last paragraph to read as follows. You'll notice there are no strike-throughs, nothing being deleted. It is to add this to that section. And Mr. Moderator, I lay the motion before the Presbytery.
All right. So the motion before us is to amend G 3.0104. You've heard the motion, does not require a second. Is there any discussion or debate?
Mr. Moderator, Bill Clark, Westminster, Austin. While I agree with this amendment as a good rule of thumb for congregations, I have a problem with it, this prohibitive language being in our Book of Order. And I noticed that the Advisory Committee on the Constitution did as well. And I would urge people to at least, I know there's not much time, but to skim through what they had to say about this, this amendment seeming to be in many ways contradictory to some of our basic Presbyterian principles. I would also note, I checked this morning, that 26 presbyteries have voted for this and 66 against to date. So I just share that information with the body today, and wanted to offer my thoughts on that.
Thank you.
Marie Gray, Jackson Woods, Corpus Christi. The basis of this amendment has to do with the Johnson Act of 1954. If those who are interested in Texas history would like to research that, it's very interesting. This deals with the possibility that that amendment would be taken out of the tax code. This can only be done by Congress. We don't have any idea right now whether Congress will abolish it or not. Anything that we would do would be redundant at this point. I think that we need to be very cautious about those who use the word separation of church and state. The Constitution does not, in Amendment 1, say there shall be a separation of church and state. And when this act was first presented in 1954, it was not based on, the regulations have never been designed to prevent ministers or other church officials from speaking in church about social and political issues. What they are forbidden by this is formally endorsing candidates. Please read carefully and vote accordingly.
Yeah, thank you for your comments.
My name is Mike Cook from Westminster here in Austin. And yes, I am one of Reverend Clark's flock. But on this day, I respectfully disagree with him. I think a rule, to be a rule, has to be more than just a sort of a wish policy. First of all, the so-called Johnson Amendment has really never been enforced. It's a tax rule. If you think back, for those of you who are old enough to remember, the Protestant churches, arm in arm, spoke out loud and frequently in the 1960 election against the very crazy possibility that a Catholic could become president. It was never, no church, to my knowledge, there's never been a case against an established church that says you're going to lose your exemption if you keep talking from the pulpit. Now, is there a problem at Westminster? No. But without a rule, and I guess I have to say this, think about why the present administration wants to repeal the rule. As feckless as it is, there's a reason. And the concern is that churches become political organizations. And that's not why I am a Presbyterian, and I will vote for the amendment.
Thanks for your comments.
Minister of the Word and Sacrament and Shepherd of the Hills Presbyterian Church. I guess I need a little more clarification, and maybe if there's anybody that was part of GA, or if you know what was going, maybe Tricia, you can explain the phrase, nor any individual acting on behalf of or in an official capacity for the above institutions. That's fairly broad. So I'm not sure how that's being interpreted, because it could be interpreted in a number of ways. So are we monitoring then ruling elders that are posting things on Facebook? It just seems like that could be interpreted in a lot of ways. So maybe if there could be some clarification on that phrase, that would be great.
Was a commissioner from the General Assembly on that committee who could speak to this question?
Mr. Moderator, Dan Milford, Covenant San Antonio. My understanding, and take it with those limitations, but my understanding is that this prevents open endorsement, public endorsements by the church, where it's clearly not an individual's opinion, but on behalf of this church, we endorse this candidate. We're still completely at liberty to speak about issues as we always have, but that this is to discourage public endorsements of individual candidates for office.
Thank you. We'll go here.
Joel Moody, Hope Presbyterian Church. This amendment, I think, is really well-intentioned. It's designed to keep pastors in the business of pastoring and not politicking. However, my fear is that this carves out an arena where the PCUSA is refusing to speak. It effectively calls for us as churches to relinquish our prophetic role. And if you look in your book of orders, which I know you all brought, F 10201 reminds us that God has put all things under the lordship of Jesus Christ. God has something to say about every part of human life, including politics. There's not a square inch, in other words, in the entire domain of human existence that God does not cry out, mine.
Thank you, Joel.
Moderator Brian Diebold, Minister of Word and Sacrament at Crossroads Church. I speak against the amendment. A lot of us hold up Dietrich Bonhoeffer as an example worthy of appreciation. He's often spoken of as a martyr. This was a Lutheran pastor, not Presbyterian, but Lutheran, who specifically opposed an individual in Adolf Hitler, who not just opposed him in endorsements or in speaking, but actively worked against him. It's hard to imagine the United States being in a situation like that, but I am fearful of putting into our Constitution that we can't be ready to address such a situation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Matt Gaventa, University, Austin. I would be, I think, more slightly sympathetic to the amendment if I thought that it was written in a way that reflected the amendment that that was described for us orally. But I'm very concerned about the phrase, or otherwise encourage or discourage others to vote for or against an individual running for public office. There's a very broad standard that could be evaluated well beyond the scope of an official public endorsement. And I feel like that potentially, alongside a host of other objections, puts us into very dangerous, just precedent territory within the Book of Order. And for that reason, I will vote against it.
Thanks for your comments.
Sarah Four. I just want to clarify something. Kyle Walker, pastor of Faith Presbyterian Church, Austin. I want to clarify that the Johnson Amendment actually has been enforced. So, dramatic example, after Barack Obama spoke to his denomination's National Gathering of the United Church of Christ, they did end up going to court after the fact, which he spoke before he was a presidential candidate. So it does, in fact, get used from time to time. I just want to echo what Matt said. I'm concerned about the loose language here. It doesn't seem well written. This doesn't seem like a time in history when we want to mute our voice as a church.
Amen. Thank you.
If you think about the Barman Declaration and Belhar, how much were those issues and the people separated? I think that's pretty close. If I were to say today that we need to oppose the wall, isn't that a subtle anti-endorsement of somebody in office right now? And so I recommend to vote against it. It's well intended, but I think the blanket nature of this statement is just too much.
Thanks for your comment. I think the body's ready to vote, but I want to give you the opportunity to be the last speaker.
Okay, well, Mary Breeden, pastor, New Hope La Feria, and I'll say that I'm not really even sure how I'm going to vote, but I do want to say that there's a difference. First of all, there's a really bad situation here where if we allow churches to be endorsing candidates, we create a black hole of money being able to go into a church that can't be traced, that just is an ugly situation in our democracy. I don't think that it's the same thing to say I'm against the wall, to say I'm against Trump. There are actually people who support Trump that are against the wall. There is a difference. And I would say that Bonhoeffer acted as an individual. And any pastor is always allowed to speak out as an individual and act as an individual, and any member of a church is allowed to do that. But to make the church as an institution a political entity that supports a particular candidate, I think, is not a good way for us to go if we want a democracy and a separation there. That's all.
Thanks for your comments. We've heard the motion regarding G 3.0104, and I would like to move us toward the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Nay. Sometimes people just speak loudly to. The chair would like to call for a show of hands. All those in favor, please raise your right hands.
Keep them up.
Thank you. You may put your hands down. All those opposed, please raise your hand.
I'm not counting that many.
I think it's clear the motion fails.
The next one is item 18D. Y'all just thought you were done. That's on page 12 in the booklet, and it is on amending G-3.0306. Shall the fourth paragraph of G-3.0306 of the form of government be amended by adding the following statement as follows? That's a little redundant. Text to be added is shown in italics. Mr. Moderator, I lay this motion before the Presbytery.
For the motion comes from the General Assembly, does not require a second. Is there any discussion or debate?
Margaret Amer, Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. I have a question. As faculty of a Presbyterian seminary within the bounds of this presbytery, would this amendment require this presbytery to approve the service of every member of our faculty who is a member of a presbytery other than Mission, and every other teaching elder on our staff who is a member of the faculty who is not a member of Mission Presbytery?
I think I do. I've said that before. Dan Fultz, Grace Victoria, and I was thinking about the same thing from a commissional ministry perspective. The Austin Seminary has had the tradition of having faculty spread out over many presbyteries. I'm not sure that we want all of Austin's faculty in our presbytery. Shut up. But I thought about it, and the last phrase of the amendment says that the presbytery, without permission to work, and I don't think there will be any problem in Mission giving permission for those ministers to work or to be members of other presbyteries. I think that will be, certainly in the case of the seminary, it will be easy. In other cases where, I can think of another case where there are towns on the border between two presbyteries, like Grace and Mission, where there have been clergy couples that had served one in one church in one presbytery and the other in the other. And we would not be opposed to them living in the same manse or in the same house. And I think we could get that. I don't think this amendment would prohibit our giving permission for that. So that's
the chair will recognize the true intent of your commentary. Thank you.
Josh Robinson, teaching elder, Hope Austin. The thing that I feel like helps clarify that is the word, and maybe I'm wrong, is the words validated ministry. So Erica Nicely, a recent ordained minister of our presbytery, is in a validated ministry at Austin Seminary, but I don't know whether the faculty and the staff at Austin Seminary are in what our presbytery consider, or other presbyteries consider, validated ministries. They are? I'm going to sit back down, and I would say that some of us want all of them in our presbytery.
I think the other word that we can pay attention to within this overall is the word ordinarily. So there is some grace within this amendment. Any other questions or discussion, debate? Seeing none, let's proceed to a vote on Amendment G-3.0306. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it and the motion passes.
The next item is 18E for pastor, counselor, and advisor to its pastors and congregations. And this is on amending G-3.0307. The 223rd General Assembly directed the stated clerk to send the following proposed amendment to the presbyteries for their affirmation or negative votes. Shall G-3.0307 of the form of government be amended as follows. Text to be deleted is shown with a strike-through. Text to be added or inserted is shown as italic. Mr. Moderator, I place this motion before the Presbytery.
Thank you. It comes from the General Assembly and requires no second. Is there any discussion or debate on this particular motion? So let us proceed to vote on Amendment G-3.0307. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion passes.
The next item is 18F, found on page 15 in the booklet, on welcoming to the table, amending W-4.0202. The 223rd General Assembly directed the stated clerk to send the following proposed amendment to presbyteries for their affirmative or negative vote. Shall W-4.0202 be amended as follows. Text to be deleted is shown with the strike-through. Text to be added or inserted is shown as italic. Mr. Moderator, I place this before the Presbytery.
The motion regarding W-4.0202 is before us, does not require a second. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
The next one is 18G, which is found on page 16 in the booklet, on amending D-2.0203B. Shall D-2.02, let me try that again, D-2.0, one more time. I loved it when we put page numbers in the book of order. I'm just going to say that. Shall D-2, there we go, .0203B of the rules of discipline be amended as follows. Text to be deleted is shown with a strike-through. Text to be added or inserted is shown as italic. Mr. Moderator, I place this before the Presbytery.
Thank you. The motion before us regarding D-2.0203B. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion passes.
And we are at the end. This is the last one. 18H regarding time limits. Again, as is with the previous one, this is one where 18H1 and 18H2 are being brought together as one amendment for you. It's found on page 18 in the booklet. And it reads, H1 reads, shall D-10.0401B of the rules of discipline be amended as follows. Text to be deleted is shown with strike-through. Text to be added or inserted is shown as italic. And 18H.2 is, shall D-10.0401C1 of the rules of discipline be amended as follows. Text to be deleted is shown with strike-through. Text to be added or inserted is shown as italic. Mr. Moderator, I place this before the Presbytery.
Another joint amendment coming to us from the General Assembly regarding section D.0401B and 10.0401C1. You've heard the motion. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Nay. The motion passes. Okay. It is now 9:35, and so we are going to break for 15 minutes, and we will be coming back at 9:50. 9:50. We are in recess. Thank you.